So the key is to make this revision timeline realistic. What a good sound. Hey guys, I'm Kate. Welcome back to my channel. In this vlog, we're going to go through step 1 of my revision plan and also admittedly find out like how many other steps are needed before we get to the very last stage of my revision and Meridian Maps book 1 is done. But first I want to talk about a really great comment I got on my last video regarding the Meridian Maps revision. And a quick summary of that last video, I explained in part that my main character Annalise's role was as a servant in the Monsorian castle after her mom, who used to be best friends with the queen, had fallen out with the queen and then left. I also had this really beautiful portrait done of Annalise that my friend had drawn, and then to commemorate my other main characters, I drew stick figures of them. So what you could visibly see is my black main character in the role of a servant as the book opens up. Now, as the writer, I knew more of the nuanced details that most people in the Monsorian Queendom and in this part of the realm, including Princess Quinta and the queen and her husband, are also black. That I intended servant to be more like castle service worker. But the fact that I couldn't realize in my summary through multiple edits of the vlog how I had made it come across is a wonderful example of why sensitivity readers are so important. The intention doesn't always matter if the actual outcome is compounding hurt, and I'm so sorry. I also want to thank Hey Kay for asking because I know that that can be difficult. It has already made me reflect on a different word I can use in the opening pages of the novel, and I actually came up with a few nuggets, so this will be the first bit of the revision that I'm doing, and I think it's really going to add some depth into this Monsorian Queendom. So even if your story, like mine, has no historical basis in our world, the readers of the book are from our world. And that's why hiring sensitivity readers is so important to include in your revision plan and like set that time aside for it as you get closer and closer to publication. So a spoiler, that's actually step 9 for me. But let's go ahead and backtrack a little bit to step 1, aka the printing out of my manuscript. Okay, we're almost here. Let's do this. Oh, first off, the pickup lady called it my book and she recognized that my nail color changed every angle, so that was very exciting. It was very nice for her. So I like the lamination. I thought I was getting a front cover, but it honestly doesn't really matter. Ta-da! And then back cover. So I'm excited. Hooray! What I should have done, I'm realizing, is I should have put numbers on the pages. So that's something that if you're doing this, I'd recommend. That way when you're making notes, you can reference back easier. So what I'm gonna do is I'll probably just number them at the bottom as I go and as I'm making notes. But yes, so I'm so excited. So pretty. And also, what a good sound. I do have another place alongside my journey, so I don't know if any of y'all who are in the AuthorTube chat can guess what the next video is going to be, but I'm gonna go pick up some books. Some books I mostly haven't read. Post office, quick stop. Boop. Yay! It feels like a book. Oh, the cover's really cool. Gwen says this is a favorite book by one of my favorite authors. I thought you might enjoy it. It's very cute. Oh, about the author. Megan is a longtime resident of queer romance and keeps herself busy reading, writing, and publishing it. No, she's often accused of fluff and nonsense. When she's not involved in writing, she likes to cook, harass her wife and cats, or watch movies. She loves to hear from readers and can feel out of the net. Gwen, that's very sweet of you. Thank you. I'm excited. And now it's time to get back on the road. Again. Okay, so I have done this before in more depth, but I wanted to go over quickly sort of how I printed off my document and why I do it. I find it super helpful to have a physical copy in my hands, and just seeing it in a different medium than on my computer really just, it changes the way I read it, especially after having read it so many times on the computer. It's an important step for me, but it tends to be kind of random on when I need to do it, but I need to do it now. So usually I use Office Depot, but this time I use Staples because Office Depot didn't have any pickup options. Staples ended up being a little bit more expensive, but the key here is to make sure you change the print options from color to just black and white. You'll see that that really drops down the price of this. It's still gonna be about $25 all told once you include tax, but I like having both either a front cover. I actually am able to watch this back and see that I chose a laminate cover, so I recommend laminate or any kind of cover. Haha. This back cover is really nice, and it's sturdier, okay? And that will protect your precious words. Also because I have a tendency to rip things easily in my haste. Yes, I just recommend getting it bound like this. If you want it, obviously you can print it off yourself and like 3-hole punch it and put it in a binder or whatever. I do not own a printer. And though you can get the single space, I got this 1.5 times space rather than double because I can write pretty small in the notes, but that way I still have room at each individual sentence or each individual paragraph. Other times I've done this, I have put a cover page on there, which I think is also good. Again, coil bound. I just like the coils. This was back when the Meridian Maps was just Project Blue. How fun. And like I said before, if I was doing this again, I would just number the bottom pages. It'll be real easy for me to just write that in. I forgot to add that the latest copy of the Meridian Maps was actually on my old computer in a Scrivener document. So what I did is I took all of that in Scrivener and actually pasted it over to Google Docs so that I could access it easier on my new computer. Then from Google Docs, I saved it as a PDF, and that is what I uploaded to the Staples website. And in Google Docs, it's actually really easy. All you have to do is go to insert and then page numbers, and you can find any kind of way that you want to put the page numbers on there. So I would recommend doing that I did not. Ooh, wow. Also, of course, much coffee will be had. And a Zelda will stare at me while I do it. So I think this is what my desk is going to be set up like through the process. I'm gonna have campfire blaze over here because one of the steps includes kind of doing my world building and story Bible and stuff like that. I have the manuscript here, and then I'm gonna have, I don't know if I'm gonna write in Scrivener or Google Docs yet, but that's what the plan is. However, as I'm rereading, I actually have notes from when I did book 2, book 3, book 4, and like the tiniest bit of book 5 for like foreshadowing that I need to put in. So really the read through, the next step number 2, is going to include both my notebook of things to come and the actual manuscript. Yes. So the key is to make this revision timeline realistic. This is something that I've struggled with in the past. So if you're kind of listening and you're like, this sounds like a really long amount of time, I would rather it be too long than too short, which is what I usually do, and I feel like I'm scrambling. So without further ado, let me present my timeline to you and how many steps I have in this revision process. Yes, okay. I wrote it down in a different notebook. Haha. So step 1 was getting set up and printing out the document. Basically, that's done. Step 2 is reread my last draft while taking more notes about what needs to change and where I should put the foreshadowing in. My timeline for that is just 1 week. It is March 8th to March 12th. That's really all I'm going to be focusing on for that week, so it shouldn't take longer than that. You'll notice throughout this thing that I start on Mondays and I try and end on Fridays or so because I'm not working on weekends. That is still the goal. So I'm also trying to set up my timeline to reflect that as well. Then we have step 3, which is rewrite the draft, including all of those foreshadowing notes, the stuff I want to change about the opening, etc. That is going to be from March 15th to April 30th. So this will be my Camp NaNoWriMo project. So like that's step 3. Step 4 is going to be kind of concurrent with that, which will be building out my campfire blaze and just working through all of the world building and the additional notes. This is really going to act as my hold for everything as I'm going through the 5 books. Like, it's a lot of information. There's a lot of characters to keep straight and a lot of notes about about the world. So I'm gonna do it concurrently because I'm gonna try and build it up as I'm also drafting. And that way each time I get to something, and then also the foreshadowing notes, I just think it'll be easier to do at the same time. So step 3 and 4 will be done by April 30th. Now here's where we get to the interesting bits, because I want to get beta readers again. I have had this book beta read before, but that was before I had zero drafted the entire series, and I'm hoping to make the changes now, right? So I need beta readers again. Will it make sense? Will the plot changes I've made, the subplots I'm including, will it all make sense? That's step 5. And I'm gonna do it from May 3rd to May 21st. So that is 3 weeks for the betas to read through the story. Some people prefer longer to give their betas, some people prefer shorter. I'm someone who likes to have the entire manuscript that I'm betaing and read through it in like a weekend, because that way it all stays at like the top of my mind. So I'm gonna do 3 weeks. I'm gonna give them the entire manuscript. And obviously, like, I'll check with them first. But the plus side is that this will be after Camp NaNoWriMo. So hopefully my betas, which are predominantly other writers, will have time to read it. Then it is time for the rewrite. So normally I give myself 2 months break from drafts, but as this is just farther along in the process, I don't think I need as much time. So that's gonna be my 3-week break, really, is while it's with betas. So then step 6, the rewrite, will be from May 24th to June 11th. The way I'm scheduling things, this is really going to be the only project that I'm working on during this time. But I also did that because I want to give it to the next round of betas before July's Camp NaNoWriMo. And between April's camp and July's camp, we really only have these 2 months. Anyways, that way my betas can have it for another 3 weeks. These will be different betas. That will be step 7, and it'll be with them from June 14th to July 2nd. This will give me time for this to be, once again, my Camp NaNoWriMo project. And this time I'll be working on it basically all of July, so from July 5th to July 30th. That's step 8, and as I said at the beginning, step 9 is higher sensitivity readers, and it is higher because they are paid. That'll be from August 2nd to August 27th. That's a full 4 weeks. And then step 10 is revising and rewriting once again from August 30th to September 24th, with the goal, as of now, to give the book to the editor by September 27th. And I sort of did the time where it's another like 4 weeks, September 27th to October 22nd. That's not really the amount of time it usually takes, but again, with a lot of this stuff, I'm trying to give myself more time that I personally expect I need, which has been my undoing in the past. I'm hoping that with this sort of paced out, I'll be able to track how I'm doing in the first sort of Camp NaNoWriMo rewrite time and see if I still think that that's valid. Yes, so basically it's gonna go through multiple revisions and rewrites, 2 rounds of betas, the sensitivity readers, another rewrite, and then with the editor, and then you always need to go over the editor's notes as well. While I'm confident that it will be published this year, the question for me is going to be timing, because that leaves it with November, which is NaNoWriMo, or December, which can be good too. I can't imagine that it could be October, but that might be nice if the timelines, like if the first beta feedback goes a lot better than expected and there's not as many things I need to change, you know? We'll see. Take a sip of this. Please do comment down below. Let me know what your revision process looks like. Let me know if you have anything on your sort of revision checklist that I didn't include in mine. Let me know if your revision process has changed over time as well, and if, you know, the more and more you've done it, you have a better and like more succinct timeline. Let me also know how you go about printing out your novel, if that's a step in your revision process. Let me know how often you print out your novel. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon with the new video. Bye. Let me know if your revision is so hard to say.